Government says there is enhanced surveillance at all ports of entry for both passengers and crew members in light of COVID-19. The assurance comes today from Acting Prime Minister Colm Imbert during the sitting of the House of Representatives. Khrystal Wilson has more in this report.
Special arrangements have been put in place for the handling of cargo as well as fishing vessels and crew members arriving from China, Japan and Korea. The confirmation came on Friday from Acting Prime Minister Colm Imbert, who responded to questions by the opposition in the Parliament regarding government's handling of growing concerns about the spread of the coronavirus. According to Mr. Imbert, all hands are on deck to ensure the risks of exposure are non-existent.
The government has also implemented enhanced surveillance measures at our seaports and airports. These include passenger and crew manifests with more information giving full travel history for passengers and crew to allow us to determine the risk of exposure.
Minister Imbert said there is active surveillance on board all vessels entering the country. He also added that port health officials are actively working to implement preventative measures.
They are currently looking at the declarations submitted by the captains and also interviewing the captains and the ship's officers. Doctors.
The Acting Prime Minister also took time to clear the air on an issue raised in the Parliament regarding masks sent to China from this country aimed at assisting in the prevention of the spread of the virus worldwide. Mr. Imbert explained that the N95 masks were sent to China, but it was not an initiative of the government.
It was not the government that sent that donation of masks to China. It was the private sector. So the question is based on a false premise. However, I'm advised by the Minister of Health that there is no shortage of N95 masks in the public sector.
Minister Imbert said there are currently 23,000 masks in the country, with an additional 25,000 expected to arrive within the next week. Khrystal Wilson, TTT News.
There continues to be no confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Trinidad and Tobago. The latest information from the Ministry of Health says, as of this morning, 32 samples were submitted to the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, for testing for COVID-19. However, none of the samples tested positive. Over in Tobago, we are being reassured that the island is in a state of readiness to deal with COVID-19. Tobago's Emergency Management Agency, TEMA, says they have 2 shelters on standby, one of which can act as a portable isolation system if needed.
These shelters come with the necessary appurtenances that would allow to be adaptable to the situation and applied. On the notice of our colleagues from the CMOH office, that resource can be easily made available to the present situation, or if a situation arose where it becomes necessary to be utilized.
Addressing concerns raised about the cruise ships visiting the island, Acting County Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Tiffany Hoyt, says they've been doing their due diligence.
Had discussion with the agents, so they have made sure that all vessels, the remaining vessels, because the season is winding down, are aware of the new policy, and Costa Magica actually took that decision because they would have had persons who would not have been able, they would have fit into one of the countries, and therefore no one would have been able to get off the ship, as is the policy.
What this means is that the cruise ship Costa Magica, which was scheduled to dock this weekend, will no longer do so. However, another cruise ship will be at the port on Sunday. Meanwhile, THA Chief Secretary Kelvin Charles says the Division of Health in Tobago is not without leadership. This in response to those who are making the claim in the wake of the resignation of Secretary Dr. Agatha Carrington and the firing of TRHA CEO Sheldon Cyrus.
In circumstances where a secretary is out of the country or is on vacation, or as in the case of the Division of Health has resigned, that the Chief Secretary assumes responsibility for that particular division.